The holidays are approaching us, and I sat and wondered what holidays are celebrated in the Star Wars universe. We'll be exploring all the ones I could find, why they're celebrated, and what they do for festivities. Let's jump in. Life Day was a Wookiee tradition that celebrated family and harmony. The holiday was celebrated with decor, lights, feast, music, and joy. The large Life Day orbs were held or tied up with rope as ornaments to be placed on the Tree of Life. Life Day brought together other races as well, who celebrated from their home planets. It was first introduced in the infamous holiday special and has been mentioned in Star Wars ever since, even though Lucasfilm desperately wants to bury it. Let's jump to Bunta Eve, that was celebrated as an annual Hutt holiday for Bunta Helstic Shadru, who was a Hutt believed to have ascended to godhood. The holiday's festivities included fireworks and a pod race called the Bunta Eve Classic Race. In twisted tradition, slaves would renew their vows of obedience, and in return, their masters would reward them with feast and gifts. The pod racing tradition came from Hutt's betting on track style races between their prisoners. Empire Day, which was also known as Imperial Unity Day, was the day that Palpatine declared himself emperor and established the Galactic Empire. The holiday was celebrated with parades, anthems, and chants. Fireworks also were set off, with attendance being mandatory. The entire spectacle was propaganda for the Empire and also was a day Ezra Bridger was born. Sacred Feast was a Gungan holiday referred to as the Munchin. The boss of the Gungan village would travel into the forests of Naboo once a year and hunt enough animals to feed all villagers. This was done as a celebration of thanks to the Gungan and their deities. Equinox Day was the marking of the beginning of autumn on the planet Hussian Prime. The day was celebrated with sunrail races, which were vehicles that glided over water using solar power. The Festival of Light was a Naboo holiday that was annually celebrated, marking the day Naboo joined the Galactic Republic. Often, the senator of Naboo would give a speech. There would also be holographic light shows and fireworks that would happen at this event. Founding Day was celebrated on Alderaan in memory of the founding of the House of Organa. The celebration had firework displays honoring the royal family. All Species Week was a week-long holiday celebration on the planet Coruscant. The holiday, as it sounds, celebrated the diverse species of the planet. Multiple parties of different cultures were thrown on the different levels of Coruscant. Winterfest was a holiday celebrated by the witches of Dathomir. Gifts were given to younger witches by the elders. It was a day of cultural dance and celebration between the elders and the young. Walaran was celebrated by the Balanaka, who would send an artist from their community to help carve out buildings and structures for an event. The event would invite all of the planet, and they would participate in large parties, trading, and relationship building over a stretch of a couple days. The event would conclude with spokesmen from each community working together to create trade deals, production plans, and territory negotiations. The month of plenty was a weekway holy season that honored the moon god Kua. Temples around the planet Shrilar used roof skylights to track the moon's progress during the month. The progress of the moon would determine what festivities would happen that day that ranged from parties to prayers. Walker Festival was a biannual month-long festival on Emmer filled with parades, feasts, and walker races. Wake Meet, a winter holiday in Barseg, had Barsegi children dressed as evil spirits who were then visited by their neighbors. Their neighbors would offer the children sweets in return for blessings. Harvest season, an annual period on Kinyan where the Grands would mark the harvest season, which was celebrated with a large gala ball. Haggle Day, a yearly festival of the squib species that involved bargaining and deals. It was a social festival where squib would try to leave with great deals. Galactic Moon Festival was created by Jabba the Hutt, who was tired of celebrations of love and life. The holiday was Star Wars Halloween, and spacers were given holo projectors to disguise themselves as different aliens. Participants would attempt to scare others in exchange for galactic moon coins. These coins would allow celebrators to exchange them for prizes. The time of renewal was a Gupin holiday. The Gupin were an alien species that can shapeshift and that can fly once they receive their wings. On this holiday, they were given a juniper chest. They would open that chest and receive the ability to fly and shapeshift during a ceremony. Remembrance Day honored those who died in the name of the Rebel Alliance. Rebel starships would perform shows while fireworks lit up the sky. Kittas was a festival held every year by the Jafar, where they would give away their material goods. It was done to lessen inequalities in class on their planet. Black Spire Day was a holiday on Batu to commemorate the founding of the Black Spire Outpost that is celebrated with decorations and feasts. Slush Time is the season of spring on Gamor and leads into Jugsmug Fair, which involved the hosting of large fighting tournaments. Gamorreans would compete gladiator style in these fairs, and Gamorreans celebrated this time with prizes won from the fights. The strongest would be celebrated. Landing Shootout was an annual aiming contest held at Bartel's Landing. Vendors sold food and drinks while shooters took on aiming challenges for prizes. The Battle of Endor, also known as Liberation Day, celebrated the liberation of the Rebel Alliance. It was made into a 7-day festival after the defeat of the Galactic Empire at the Battle of Jakku. Every planet celebrated differently depending on the culture. Longest Night is a twilight holiday celebrating the planet of Ryloth and a moment when all 3 moons are at its lowest. This caused the planet to be shrouded in darkness. Families spend this time indoors together, with some believing it to be the day ghosts and the dead roam the region. Lunar Night was celebrated by the planet of Entrala, when the moon passed closest to the planet. This led into the Parade of Ghosts, where Entralan warriors were commemorated. Actors and dancers dressed as the fallen Entralan warriors on the parade route performing for the public. Concerts of the Winds was a cultural festival where the Vor would celebrate the changing of the seasons on their planet Vortex. It would be held at the Cathedral of Winds, which is a crystal structure that had high winds rushing through it. The Vor would block the tunnels with their bodies to create beautiful music as celebration. Portal Cove Winter Carnival was an annual celebration of the beauty of the planet Neftali. The celebrations included swoop races through icy caverns, ice sculpture decorations, and beverages crafted from the waters of Naphtalian ice. Mekgen was celebrated by the Geonosians and occurred during the rainy season of the planet. 3 days leading up to the holiday were celebrated with gladiator battles in the Petranaki Arena. Dunkuda Day was celebrated by the people of Omaka and was a feast during harvest season that appeared in the Young Jedi Adventures series. The show writers described it as being the in-universe Thanksgiving. Naming Day was the special day in many cultures to refer to someone's birthday. Gifts would be given and the person would be celebrated in different ways depending on the cultural norms of the species. Nusik was a Trandoshan holiday of violence. Members of the species would push their hunting goals in order to earn extra points with their deity, the scorekeeper. During this holiday, they would earn extra points for certain tasks while on the hunt. Eventide was much like daylight saving time. It was an annual Petoran time on Seleucami where ordinary life was shifted to take place at night for 3 months. Osis Day was a day of remembrance for the Jedi who passed. The day was sacred to the Jedi and was a somber celebration. Time would be taken to reflect and honor the Jedi from both Jedi and normal man alike. Queen's Bloom Festival was celebrated annually on the planet Rena. It celebrated the end of the planet's raining season. Plants across the planet would cause a wide glow when blooming due to their bioluminescent properties in their pollen. The Festival of Bounty was a Wookiee holiday celebrating the harvest of Kashyyyk. It lasted 3 weeks, and during this time, nuts, fruits, and other harvestable plants would not be exported due to it being believed to be bad luck. The Festival of Great Trade was a holiday on the planet Sivren that involved trade and mass negotiation. Aliens from other planets would migrate over and would gather in the cities to partake in these activities, hoping to score. The Festival of the Twin Gods was celebrated by the Yuzan Vong and honored Un Yamka, the Slayer, and Un Harla, the Trickster. The Vong would celebrate in breaking their strict rules. Underlings would play tricks on elders, while rival clans shared secrets with one another. Reflection Day was a day where travelers would arrive at Jeddah City to gaze into the Kyber mirrors beneath the Dome of Deliverance, a spiritual site. Festive cuisine was served during this time at food stalls that were set up. Star Day was celebrated by the Chiss and marked the first day a person saw a star in the skylight. This holiday involved parties and treasure puzzle poems. Starlight Festival was celebrated by the Planet Tide Camp for 30 days. The planet's protective shields were closed, and during this time, plants were not grown, spaceports were closed, and only emergency services were provided. These days were spent feasting, drinking, shopping, and enjoying the spectacle of the outer meteor showers and atmospheric fires. That's the holidays I can find, and there's probably so many more we haven't learned about due to the sheer amount of species in Star Wars. Let me know your favorite in the comments down below, and if you want more lists like this, be sure to click the video at the end screen. Thanks for watching.